You have set up Cognito, you logged in, and everything looks fine. But when you try to test your API, you can't find your ID token anywhere. And in a dev environment, the last thing that you want is to manually log in through the hosted UI every single time just to grab that token. So in this video, I'm going to show you a quick, repeatable way to grab your Cognito authentication tokens without having to log in manually every time. This is a huge time saver if you're constantly testing or iterating on your app. But before we start, if you haven't watched my Amazon Cognito general configuration video yet, make sure to check that one first, because this solution builds directly on top of those settings. Take in mind that all documentation, scripts, and assets for this video are linked down in the description in our series GitHub repository. My name is Juan Simon, developer at Xinitry, and this is part of my From Zero to Production on AWS series, where I don't give you tutorials, I give you real-world solutions to real-world problems. Let's understand where we are operating as developers. We have a Lambda function that is accessible through API Gateway. Now, access to this API is restricted so that only authenticated users via Cognito can call it. That's great for security, but here's the problem. We are still developing the source code of that Lambda function, and we need to be able to test in real time if our changes are working. The first solution, which technically works but is slow and tedious, is this. We request authentication from Cognito using the hosted UI. Cognito then logs us into our user and returns a JWT token. We then take that token, drop it into Postman, and make our request so the Lambda runs. The problem is that this takes a lot of time and you must do it again every time the token expires. The second solution, the one that I'm going to show you now, is faster and easier. Instead of going through the hosted UI, we run a simple script that talks directly to Cognito without any browser or GUI. The script then authenticates the user and instantly returns a valid JWT token. From there, we can grab that token and send it with our request in Postman and immediately run our Lambda function without wasting time for logging in manually. This is the approach that will save you minutes or even hours doing development. So let's go and put it into action. As explained, we have created an API that calls a Lambda function. Now, access to this API is restricted, so only authorized users can access it. Now, let's try accessing this API. As you can see, we are getting a 401 unauthorized response from the API. That is because we're not including the authorization header in the request. If we do so and try requesting it again, we will get a response from the Lambda function. Now, let me show you how to get your ID token so you can include it in the headers of your request. Now, the first option, which technically works and I previously explained, is to go through the Cognito login UI, log in, copy the URL with the ID tokens, paste it into nodes, and then manually extract your ID token from there. As you can see, if we copy this one, go into Postman and paste that in, it will work perfectly. But this is too tedious and takes a lot of time, and especially if you need to do this every single time that your token expires. So let me show you a quicker way to do this. Head over to our GitHub repository and scroll down until you see the episode index section. Now, click on the third one's branch. Here, you will find a complete documentation about the code that I'm going to explain to you in a moment. If you scroll up, you will see that you will have a Cognito curl generator.py file. Make sure to have Python installed on your computer to be able to run this script. So copy that and let me show you how it looks over in VS Code. Here I have a complete clone of the GitHub's repository, and if we look at the cognito.py file, we can see that it's importing some libraries to be able to generate the secret hash. After that, it's checking if a credentials.json file is present in the same directory as the Python code. In this credentials file is where we're going to store our Cognito credentials. If there are no credentials or the file is not present, the code will automatically prompt for them in the terminal. Our credentials are going to be used to encode them together and generate a key. to then generate the secret hash by using the base64 encode method from the base64 library. After that, the code will generate a curl command using the credentials that we previously provided and the new generated secret hash. This code will be outputted to a Cognito curl command.txt file, from where we can copy that command and paste it either into the terminal or import it into Postman. But before we can do that, we have to fill in the credentials.json file. Let me show you how to do that. In the region, put in the region where your Cognito user pool is living. In our case, US East 1. For the email, put in the email for the user that you want to log into. In our case, if you remember, it's johndoe@gmail.com. And for the password, we use test1234!, but keep in mind that this is only for demonstration purposes and we don't recommend to use this type of passwords. Now the only missing things are the client ID and the client secret. For those, head over to the Cognito console, head over to clients and select the app client. There, you can directly copy the client ID and the client secret into your JSON file. Now, let's go on and try to execute the script. For that, you can click on the play button on the top right corner. But for that, you will have to install the Python extension for VS Code. But you can also run the code by typing a simple command in the terminal. All this process is documented in the Github repository, so go and check that out. I'm going to use the play button, and as you can see, the curl command got successfully saved into the .txt file. So let's open that and copy its content. If we now head over to Postman and import this command by clicking on the import button at the top left corner and paste the curl command in that we just copied, you will see that it will automatically generate and save a post request that you can then execute on and against every time you need a new token. So now let us just try copying this ID token that we just got from the Cognito API response and try pasting it into the authorization header of the previously created GET request for our own API. As you can see, it works perfectly. Alright, that's it. If you're building on AWS and you're running into challenges like this, or you just want to save yourself some hours of repetitive clicks, consider subscribing so you don't miss the next tip.